Okay, we are live. All right.
Hello.
I need a production assistant, I swear.
You do a
Uh,
great job, Linda.
I'm
Don't
I I'm trying. I'm trying. I got my disco set up back
worry.
there.
It
Okay,
matches your
so
shirt.
I know. You know what? I didn't even think about that. It kind of does. I'm kind of blending in. All right, so we have one viewer on. Well, we'll just wait for a couple more people to jump on and do a little bit of you know, see if anybody has any questions. I don't know if anybody sent me any questions. I'm going to double check it. Look at my emails. I asked them to send in some things. So, um, nope, nope. Well, anyway, I just wanted to thank you again, Christine, for coming on to my StreamYard and being on my Facebook Live. You always have really, really good information. Can you hear the music, or do you turn it down?
I cannot hear.
Okay, I'll turn it down a little bit. I know it can be kind of annoying for some people. But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you again for coming on and always giving out such great information to everybody about mortgages, about refinancing, about anything mortgage related.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you're really good about talking to people about credit too. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
people need to realize that what kind of a resource that you are, that you really have some good knowledge about how to budget. And yes, I know you. Everybody wishes I would listen, but I'm never going to be a budgeter. I live for the day.
It's hard.
um, yeah, it
Budgeting
is.
is
It is
hard.
hard, and I do. I do want to be that person, but it might happen. Listen, I'm 53 years old. All right, I don't know if it's ever going to happen. All about the fun. All about the fun. Well, anyway, we wanted to come on here today and talk with everybody. We've got the COVID thing happening right now, and Christine actually is the one that came up with the name. It kind of rocked everybody's world. It really did, and it really rocked the mortgage world.
Mm-hmm.
So what I want Christine to be on here first. Christine, tell us who you are, what do you do, and tell me something good.
Okay. Well, rates are phenomenal. They're
That's good.
awesome. So that's something to really, really be excited about. My name is Christine Wilson with the mortgage firm. I've been with the mortgage firm for 15 years, and I have a team of 5 ladies that kick butt and take names, right, Linda? So,
Oh yes, they do. And
and
I just want to add something real quick onto that. We had a closing together, and it was a husband and wife. And the husband, when we got done, he's like, "Thank you so much. Everybody that we worked with was amazing." And he made a compliment. He said, "Any female run the guy said it. Any female run business, he goes, I'm always going with them." I'm like, "Wow, that's really good." So it was
whoa,
nice to hear that. So sorry to interrupt you, but yes, your team does rock. I always refer to you guys as you. There's no wall that's put up that you can't bust your way through.
that's right.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's it. So yes, passionate about looking at people's full financial picture to help them get the best product that's right for them. And so that's about it. And yeah, we've been going through quite a bit with this whole COVID thing, like everybody else has been. The mortgage firm, the mortgage industry in general, is not. We did not escape that just like
Hmm.
everybody else. So it's been a little crazy. But rates are phenomenal still, and they will remain phenomenal because, I mean, our economy is going to be in the crapper for a little while because of all this. And
Hmm.
one of the ways that the economy recovers best is when rates are low. It encourages people to buy homes and to refinance. And those two things put money back into our economy,
Yeah.
which keep on helping put people to work. When you pull money to do a cash out refi on your house to redo your kitchen and your flooring, you're putting people to work when you
Hmm.
do that. When you buy a new home, and I always say, when you buy a new home, those Ace Hardware, best, Home Depot and Lowe's, those become your best friends. You like run there almost every single day, even 3 times a day, and you're putting those people to work. So, I mean, it's real estate truly does help the economy recover,
Hmm.
and so rates are going to be good for a while. So
Hmm.
that's the good news.
Well, you just mentioned that about the rates being low. It encourages people to buy homes. And I've got a lot of people saying like, "Oh, how are you doing? How's the real estate doing?" They're almost like they're gonna hear me go, "Oh, it sucks." But you know what? It's not been bad. And I mean, I'm not trying to brag or boast. What I'm saying is, I always say that I'm grateful, I'm thankful, and I'm blessed. And
Mm-hmm.
that's something that I always have to remember because I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. But I'm getting phone calls from people like, "I want to buy right now. I'm like, what, what's the urgency?" And of course, I have to check, like, you got a good credit score? Are you working? That's where I'm like, hey, call Christine's team. You chat with them about all that. But I just wanted to point out that there is business happening. People are listing homes. There are buyers out there. And one of the things is, I only went back like the last 3 days, and I only did for Orange and Seminole County. I looked at what has happened in Orange and Seminole County, only single family homes. So this is the last 3 days as of 11 o'clock today, the 23rd of April. We had 155 homes, single family homes that sold. And that's just in the past 3 days in Orange and Seminole County. 238 went under contract, went pending. Now, we all know that those may not last, they may fall through. But we had 139 new listings happen. So why I'm pointing this out is that things are happening. And also, if you add it up, the solds and the went under contracts, that's 393 that went off market, only to be replaced by 139. So I have a lot of people saying, "Oh, it must be a buyer's market now." I personally haven't seen that, so I don't want people to think, "Oh, we can go, if it's listed for 250, let's offer 200 for it." We're not there yet. So people are actively looking for homes, actively buying. I'm working with a lot of buyers. I got two listings right now that are live at the moment. I think I have 5 total listings. The other ones are set to close in May. Um, so interest rates are low, and that's causing people. One of the reasons why our inventory is low is because people are doing refinances. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, I mean, for sure. Refinances have definitely ticked up. That is, I am not a refi lender. I don't go out and actively pursue refi. I only work with refis with my previous clients and the people that come through, because refis, when rates are low, everyone's refinancing. When rates go up, no one's refinancing. So it's super hard to put as somebody who wants their business to stay pretty stable, you got to focus on the purchase market. And when the refis come, they come. When they don't, they don't.
Mm.
And so, but I looked at, like, I did similar stats last year. I did just about March to March 2019 to 20. Our purchases were the same, and April to April, our purchases were about the same.
Yeah.
So I really, I had 21 purchases in April. We're set to close April. So I mean, it couldn't have hurt. I mean, this could have hurt us if it would have hit in August or September, because those are our historically, January, February, and August, September are usually our lower months, where we take a little bit of a dip because of the school season. But this hit us at our prime too, at our busiest. March, April, May, June, and July are our prime time. I mean, nobody in my office takes vacations. No, nobody. March to July, and it stinks because we don't get a lot of vacation time with our kids. But we can't. I mean, we cannot, because we are super busy those months. So I mean, a little blessing, like you said, we are blessed that this. But if it does continue, I think where we're seeing the most uncertainty and where I've lost contracts and people have pulled out of contracts is actually in the 200, 230 and below purchase prices. Because they're uncertain about their jobs and they don't know, and I don't blame them. And let me mention this: if you are uncertain, don't buy a house. Don't default on your first payment. Do not get yourself in a position to do that. And speaking of the title of our Rock the Mortgage World, that is going to rock the mortgage world. If you do not make your first payment, if you have a first payment default, that's a huge thing in our business. And number two, if you do a forbearance, forbearance is not forgiveness, and people need to know that the fiduciary responsibility of your servicer is to Fannie Mae and to Freddie Mac. It is not to you, the borrower. They do not have any responsibility to you whatsoever, and they will get paid. So the last thing in the world that you want to do, just like you've been told your whole life, you can skip other payments if you absolutely have to, but you make your mortgage payment, people. Please make your mortgage payment, because it's your shelter, it's your house. So you can live with a lot of other things, but make your mortgage payment.
Yep. And that's the thing, people, they get swayed by this forbearance word and like, oh, I don't have to make a payment for the next 90 days. And I know that back in the day around the short sale time, that really burned some people. I think around the time of Irma also, certain hurricane season, that can trigger, like, oh, and then on the 120th day, it's like, you need to pay the last 3 months and now you got to pay the 4th month. And they can start to, if you don't have the money, you can go into foreclosure at that point.
Let me tell you a story. My friend Joe called me on Friday. I'm in the car and he called me and he goes, Chris, I need to tell you. He goes, I got to talk to you. And he's been out of a job for about 3 months prior to all this. And so he said, Chris, I need to talk to you. He called me up and he goes, Chris, I've been approved for a forbearance. And I was like, what? Don't even use those words. Like, that is not, no. So, and I said, well, what is it? Tell me what it is. And so he said, yeah, we don't have to make payments for 6 months. And I said, well, when do you have to make those payments? And he said, well, we have to actually make them in 6 months from now. I'll have to make a lump sum. And I said, Joe, I said, are you coming into a lot of money? I said, are you going to get a big check from somewhere like that you can make that one-time payment? Or are you going to go back to work and make all that money up? Because I would rather pay something over a 6-month period of time than to make a lump sum payment in 6 months. And so that's what he was approved for. So please be careful and make sure that you know what you're getting into, and only do it if it's absolutely necessary. Only necessary.
Yeah, I know. I hear a lot of people talking about don't pay your rent. You don't have to pay your rent. They're not going to do evictions. Don't pay your mortgage. You don't have to pay your mortgage. Those are things that people are taking. They're taking a snippet and they're not looking at the whole picture, because, yeah, we're not doing evictions right now. But what's going to happen is in a couple, is once we're back up and running, the processes are going to happen and they're going to be knocking on your door. Yeah. So this isn't a get out of jail free time period. If you can pay your bills, pay your bills. If you need help, reach out to somebody who can help you out. And I'm going to speak for Chris, and I'm going to speak for myself. If you are struggling, you are having trouble, and you need something, just reach out to the two of us. We're very open to helping people. I can't personally pay your mortgage, but I can certainly put you in touch with people who might be able to coach and counsel you or get you in with the right organizations. And I'm sure Chris has some folks too.
This morning on the radio, I heard that helporlando.com, that if you are hiring, that please go to this website and let them know so that they can put up the companies that are hiring. Right. I'll look it up real quick here, but I think it was Help Orlando. I just thought it was so awesome.
Yeah, I think it is Help Orlando. And I put out frequently, I've got 4 different places that are hiring people to work from home, and I put out a list every so often. So if anybody's looking for work from home, I know that's one of the challenges that people have. Also, I'm not sure if you can see the comments, but Sherry is asking, discuss any changes to credit scoring on loans and also jumbo loans.
Okay, read it. Say the question again.
It says, discuss any changes to credit scoring on loans and also jumbo loans.
Okay, so in general, this is what's happening. Any high-risk loan on the back end of the mortgage. So all of us lenders, we fund the loans, okay, on our big credit lines, and then we have to sell this loan off to Fannie and Freddie, okay, and so, or to investors out there. So now Fannie, Freddie, or Ginnie Mae does all the FHA, govies, all the government, FHA, VA, USDA. So any loan that presents higher risk, okay, right now in this market, because what are investors, if you were lending the money, what would you be fearful of? That somebody wouldn't make their payment and that somebody would be forbearance, okay?
Right.
So those are always going to be the loans that The government loans always have a higher risk because they're getting them for a reason. Either FHA because of the lower credit scores, because of higher debt to income ratios, because they had something in the past that is a shorter period of time, like a foreclosure. VA, 100% financing. I mean, although I really don't believe VA loans belong in this category, because usually those are some of the strongest loans, but they do. They end up in this category, and the USDA loans. And so what's happening is and then jumbo is in there as well, because jumbo's high risk. That's a $500,000, $500,000 loan amounts and more, high risk. All non-QM, all the weird outside the box loans, bankruptcy out of one day, gone. Those are gone. They're gone. Those are completely gone. They'll probably be back in about a year from now.
Wow.
Jumbo, we're still seeing, we can still do some jumbo, and we're still doing we're still doing government loans, but man, the credit score risk they're very sensitive. Where all of us lenders, we're going down to 580. Most of us lenders, some of them even lower, but most lenders were at 580 for FHA loans and governments. Now that's been raised. The majority of lenders have, not all, majority of lenders have raised it to 620. So they want 620 or better on these government loans in order, and it was 640 like 2 weeks ago, by the way. A lot of lenders had to go to 640. There was talk of going to 660. Everything about 2 weeks ago, because of the uncertainty of everything, as uncertain as the pandemic was for everybody else, was making it uncertain for the mortgage market. So that's where we've been with that. So anything on the secondary market with high risk is it's very uncertain. So it could change. I could tell you right now, we could do jumbo, and tomorrow I could be like, sorry, we're not doing jumbo anymore. It just depends. It depends on those. Conventional loans have been very safe. I haven't seen, the rates have gone up and down. They've been pretty stable for the last week and a half. We haven't seen a huge jump up and down like we were before. But the conventional has been kind of nice and steady.
Remind me again, what's the jumbo amount? The jumbo, what's the top?
400. In our area, and in a lot of areas, it's around 510, 400 is the maximum loan amount, not purchase price, loan amount.
Okay.
510, 400. If you go over that loan amount, that's considered jumbo.
Okay, gotcha. But that's the loan amount. So they could go to 600, but they just have to bring that cash to the table. The difference.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, cool. Somebody's asking, how has the closing process changed as far as doing a mortgage? And I'm going to be.
Good question.
Yeah, that's. I know that you guys have asked me not to do my 21-day closes right now because you're so busy. Wait, let's just take that back. You asked me not to do them ever, but yeah, Pam said, make sure you do 30 days, Linda. Give us 30 days. I'm like, okay.
Well, so three things have hit lenders that are really the influx of refis is really tough. These refis are helping people save $500 a month. So I mean, it's not like we're just refinancing everybody. They are really awesome refinances, and so we have an influx of that. So those refinances, we are getting a lot of property inspection waivers where we don't need appraisals on these refis, but they're clogging up the system with processing, underwriting, and appraisers. So, think about all those refis need to have an appraiser, and just say, I'm just one little loan officer here. Think about all the banks out there, everything else. So we're having a slowdown on appraisals getting back to us, where they would normally take anywhere from 5 to 7 business days. They're definitely taking 7 to 14 days to get back to us. And so now that's just the influx of business in general has been a lot. And, we don't want to, as an industry too, we've been through this now a couple of times over the last 15 years, this really high business and then really low. Guess what we do not want to do? We don't want to hire a whole bunch of people and then fire a whole bunch of people when it goes back to normal. And so I'm working with the same 5 people that I was working with before, but we have almost triple the business. And so, and I refuse, I'm not going to hire somebody and then have to let them go because we went back to normal. You know what I mean? And so we're just going to work, and that I would have to imagine that's the majority of people out there. Lenders are feeling the same way. So that's one thing. The number of loans that we're closing. Number two is we have to be very concerned about, like, for instance, I had a self-employed borrower, and I have to know what their business is, and I have to make sure they're still getting paid right up until closing. Like, I have to make sure I see checks going into their business bank account. And I have to ask, what is your business? This guy says to me, well, I think I'm pretty good. I own a cleaning business. I said, you're good. I said, you're good. But, there's some industries out there that are being hit hard. And so if they are, it's an underwriter discretion thing too. If business isn't, if they don't think, or they feel like there's not going to be money coming in for the next 4 or 5 months, they might not do the loan. We have to make sure we have updated pay stubs until the day we close. We have to make sure that they're closing. And so we're asking incessantly for pay stubs these days. It's a little annoying to clients, for sure, because, well, I already gave you a pay stub like 2 weeks ago. Well, we need another one. We need the one the day you close. And then also the day of closing, the loan officer has to call them and ask them, do you anticipate your employment being terminated, and has the COVID affected your income at all? Are you receiving the same amount of income? Have you been furloughed? Has your income gone down? Things like that. So there's a lot more steps. We will not fund a loan until we get that certified letter from the loan officer saying that they've had that discussion with the borrower.
Okay. I've been preparing my folks to make sure that they've given the lender a phone number of a person that they can call to verify the day of closing, their employment. And I've also warned them they're going to be asking for pay stubs. They're going to have to do this. It's an extra step. And to say it's because of what we're going through right now. So most of my people are understanding. So hopefully they're not giving you a hard time over there.
No, but it's just, going through the process of buying a home, as you and I know, is so nerve-wracking in general, and then to have all this on top of it is just, and then going through, one of the comments that I had from one of my clients on a survey was, Chris's team did a great job, but I will never buy a home in the pandemic ever again. And it's true, because it's just, there's even more. I mean, it's just even more.
Well, it's, I know how difficult it is for a buyer and a seller in general, and especially right now, but you got to think about it. It's a little hard for us as real estate agents. I have to spend an extra like 10 minutes getting on my PPE equipment when I go into a house and disinfecting and stuff like that. It is. So would you have people that are like, should I list my house right now? They should do it, because there are serious buyers out there who are, and I don't know how anybody else does their business. I am asking the questions, like, you have to make sure your credit score's up, or what kind of a job do you have as a listing agent? I'm asking those questions too when we get offers in. I'm making sure that, and I have to call the lenders and check and make sure that they have done their due diligence. And are you having any plans of it dropping down to 6, or going up to 660 if they're at a 640? And I guess it makes sense to to watch that piece of it, because if they're at 640 and that's what your threshold is, when you pull the credit, doesn't it drop slightly? And won't that hurt that person's credit score?
Pulling credit only takes like 2 to 5 points off your score. Truly, if their scores are in the 600s, there's usually more things to be worried about than just pulling credit. In general, we always put our clients in a position where we're pulling credit. We're telling them right when we pull credit, make sure these good things that you're doing, you're still doing, so that because you never know. I mean, credit is good for 4 months. We do not have to pull another. If you close within that 4 months, we do not have to pull credit. A lot of people don't know that. As soon as I tell that to people, usually like, oh, okay, yeah, you can pull my credit. They think that I'm gonna have to pull it like once a month or something. Now all lenders do a soft pull right before closing to make sure that you didn't go out and buy another house, a car, a boat, your credit, you didn't stop paying your bills for the last 3 months. So they will pull credit, a soft pull. It's just to
Okay.
make sure that you're still paying everything on time, but it doesn't affect your credit.
Mhm.
So, so in general, we're making sure that our clients, we can do a rapid rescore if their scores are not like, most of the time people do not realize that going 30% over your credit limit. So say you have $1,000 credit limit on a credit card. If you go over 30%, which is 300 bucks, if you go over 300, that is going to cost you about 20 to 30 points on your credit. As you go closer, go 50%, it's going to cost you 50 points on your credit. And most people do not understand this concept. And usually that is the number one reason, other than collections or, big derogatory things.
Mhm.
That is usually the reason why scores are not what they expect them to be whenever we pull. And so sometimes just paying down a credit card can get your score up, 20 to 30 to 40 points easily,
Mhm.
so that we can safeguard them and maybe even push them from doing an FHA loan to a conventional loan, easily, if that's the case.
Okay, gotcha. Um, do you have any idea? I'm asking you to pull up your crystal ball right now.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Mine's
yeah.
broken. It's over there, it's cracked, so I'm not even gonna try. But what's your thoughts on what's going to happen in the next maybe 3 months with mortgages, housing, economy?
If I had a nickel for every time I had this conversation, I think on a daily basis. And it's interesting getting a different perspective from different people that I talk to as well, because I ask the question too to financial advisors, to other people in our industry, and I want to hear what they have to say as well. And it just depends on. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I wish I had a crystal ball. I don't have a crystal ball, but I know that rates are awesome. Usually rates, having interest rates so low, really does keep things churning. And as
Hmm.
long as we keep our jobs, my fear is that it starts trickling up. I think that's if we do not come out of hiding here, then it will eventually start trickling up to those, right now it's the hourly people. It's not, but it will eventually trickle up. I mean, it won't, where no one's going to be able to escape it. But I'm just praying for a vaccine. That's what I say, because without a vaccine or without that, then, I mean, in my opinion, there's not going to be a normal. We have to have a vaccine, because um, even if we don't, who's going to go to the Disneys and the Sea World and without a vaccine? I mean, and we've got to get those places back to order.
Right. I mean, you remember, I don't know, I think it was after 9/11 or something like that. Remember when they started like checking our bags before we went into the parks?
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing now. It's going to be check your bags, check your temperature, to get back into the parks. I mean, I hope we're able to do that. I'm also kind of fearful too, because who the heck knows? I'm not a what's the name of the person who's the epidemiologist? Is that what they call it?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's what they're. So I'm not going to pretend to be one, and say I know any kind of facts. And I have to tell you, so many people are struggling right now. So many people are worried. So many people are anxious. So many people are not having jobs and stressed out about it. There's a lot of negativity going on, and maybe I want to stick my head in the sand. I don't think I am. I am paying attention, but my thing is I want to make sure I'm being the positive person. I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, but you know what I have? I got today.
Yep. That's
I know
right.
what happened. I know what happened yesterday, and that's my history. I have today, and that's what I have to focus on, because I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. And when someone says, "What do you think is going to happen to the housing market?" I have a lot of people thinking it's going to crash. I'm like, first, why are you saying that? Because, like you said, Christine, the lending in the housing market is what funds this country.
Hmm.
So you don't want to wish for that. That's great.
Yeah.
You think I'm gonna get a deal of a house now. I'm gonna $250,000 home. I'm gonna get it for 200. If you think about that, it's because the economy's crashing, and we don't want that. So just do your part, stay informed. And I always say this too: all this crap goes across. Sorry for using the word crap. All this stuff goes across social media, and people take it as it is a truth. And do you remember a movie from back in, I don't know if it was the 90s? It was called Wag the Dog.
Mm-mm.
Wag the Dog. It was a movie about how they made up this whole, and I'm not saying this is all made up, by the way, but it was talking about how the media made up all this stuff, and it was causing. I don't remember the whole movie now. It was a while ago. I think Dustin Hoffman was in it. You guys should go look at that. Look it up. It's called Wag the Dog with Dustin Hoffman, I think. And watch that movie because it talks about how they can put just things out there in front of you, and we'll believe it because it came from a news source. And I'm not saying any news people are not telling us the truth. What I'm saying is do your own research.
Well, it's tough whenever you're at home and you don't. I mean, I know when at the weekends, I go home, watch the news, and then I honestly think I'm like, I don't even know, I'm not going to even have any work to do on Monday. And then I
Yeah,
go to work on Monday, I go to my office, because I can still, because there's only two people in here. We have our own office, so
yeah.
um, and I go in the office, and then the phone rings, and then things happen, and I'm like, oh, well, I'm busy, I'm good. It's just when I'm there at the weekend and I'm in it, and I want to be updated, and I want to know what's going on, but man, it is a little bit overwhelming when you listen to it too much, you know?
Yep, I have to agree. And well, again, we should stay informed and know what's happening. It's just make sure you know what the truth is and make sure you know who you're talking to about it. And just have your facts and you just do what I mean. I'm like I said, when I go out and I'm in a mask, when I go to show houses, I got gloves on, standing 6 feet. I was in a car accident. My car's fine, by the way. I got it buffed out. So a big shout out to Samuel Adorno with Premium Auto Detailing. He came over, he buffed it out. There's not even, it doesn't even look like there's a scratch. Nothing
Uh,
happened to it. So, but anyway, I pulled over. The guy's like, he's like in my space, and I'm like, you need to back up. I'm like, well, I don't know where you've been or something like that. But I mean, I'm very cautious of it, but I forget too. I also walk up and I shake people's hands, and I'm like, oh my God, what did I do?
that is the hardest thing, isn't it? We have such a habit of that.
I know. So our world is going to be different. Things are
What's
going to be.
your, Linda, what's your favorite thing about, like, what's your favorite change about this? Like, after this is all over, you're not going back to.
Oh, um, you know what? Um, it's hard to say that because um,
You better not stop doing your videos to how to make drinks.
well,
You gotta.
well, that's it. Well, see, it's gotten me back on. So it's gotten me back on doing my Facebook Lives because remember I used to do them all the time, weekly, and I stopped doing it because I was like, oh my gosh, everybody's doing it now, And I will tell you, this is what I really needed because it was so hard to run to go meet with somebody and get
Truly.
it set up. So this is much easier, even though we had a little tiny little glitch here when we first started. But this makes it a lot easier. I think that I know I'm going to continue to do the additional things that I've added on. I've added on Matterport to my listings. I don't care if it's a $80,000 listing or $1 million listing. That's just kind of how I do things. I treat everybody the same. Um,
What did you add? What's it called?
it's called Matterport, and what it does, they walk through. It's a 360-degree video of the home, so you can virtually walk through the home. You can do it on your phone, do it on your computer. But you're on your phone, and you're like, oh, I want to go into that room. You click there, and you go into that room, and you can look up at the ceiling, look down. That way, you can get a feeling of how close the ceiling is. Some people have a big deal about ceilings, like, oh, the ceiling has to be more than 9 feet tall, or no, I don't want one that's 7 feet tall because Shaq couldn't come visit me, that kind of a thing, Shaquille O'Neal. But I'm definitely gonna keep doing the social, and I was always doing the Facebook lives for my open houses.
Yeah.
Um, I'm doing them a little bit more, but I'm doing them a little bit differently. So I will tell you one thing that's been awesome that's been happening. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people that are stressed out and on edge and can, like they jump to a conclusion or they jump to anger. But I've also been here. I feel like I got a lot of people out there that are being so much nicer than they normal would be. How can I help out? That's what I like because that's kind of what I'm that person who my first thing is how can I help you? Let me first make sure I'm able to help you, and then if there's something I need, if you can help me out, that's great. But that's what I've been getting from people. And I've, especially the agents, when I've been saying, hey, by the way, I walked through the property and I did a video as if I was walking through with a buyer. And they're like, you do? And so it's great. They're like, that's awesome. And they've been sharing it with their customers. They're like, okay, they love the video. They're coming to see the house. One of them actually, I did it on a Sunday, and so a Sunday, and then Monday I got a phone call, an offer put in, and I'm like, did you guys see the house? And she's like, no, we watched your video on Facebook Live, and I'm like, what? And so I said, okay.
I just had clients put in an offer and got their offer accepted on a $565,000 house. Never seen it before. Did a tour with their real estate agent. So it's definitely a time saver for sure, I think.
It's a time saver, definitely. I mean, in my career, I've had lots of closings, but in my career, I've only done 2 sight unseen closings. Somebody from out of state comes here. I go to the home, I video it. Yes, and they buy it. They come here the day of closing and they sign off on it. I've only done that twice. It's very stressful. But that's my new norm now. This is what people are going to have to get used to. And it's kind of, I wish we had smell-o-vision, so when people walk in a home, they can get all the senses done. I don't know how I'd pull that one off, but
I wonder if there will be something like maybe just including it in the inspection period. You can just include it, like that you have a period of time where you can go see the house. Because I can see this as a big paradigm shift of people not actually needing to go, hey, let's just put an offer on the house, and then during the inspection period, figuring it out.
And that's one of the concerns I always used to have as a listing agent. I want you to come see the home, because people get a vibe from a house sometimes. I don't, I'm just not feeling it. I'm like, but wait a minute, it's the perfect home. It's everything you said. I'm just not feeling it. I'm like, okay, I do think we're going to end up having a lot of cancellations with that, and if we go to that mode. But you know what? It just might be part of our new business plan.
Yep. So letting people don't give up on a house just because it says pending.
Oh, you know what? That's a good point. So that's something I say to people is, when my house goes pending and they're, oh, never mind, I don't want to go look at it. I don't get that because I will go out and I'm like, let me go ahead. I have been in the first spot as a backup, second spot, and the third spot as a backup. I sit and I wait. Sit and I wait. Well, I tell you one thing, if I'm the third person in line, there's something wrong with the home. So that's another thing.
Yeah.
But now in today's day and age, it might not be. But yeah, always do a backup offer. Go see the house. One of my friends, she said a guy bought a winery sight unseen on the internet in Missouri, but was upset when he moved in and found out he had not looked at the neighbor's house first. Oops. So, you know what I've done in the past is I used to do my own 360s of houses when I had the equipment. I stopped doing it. It was way too time consuming. I'd rather outsource that to somebody. But I used to drive with it out of my sunroof, and it was actually driving. It was taking a 360-degree picture of the entire neighborhood, and I would send that out to customers.
Oh.
If they weren't around. I was doing it for marketing as well. Things like that. So anyway, well, just to kind of recap a couple of things that we're, people are buying and selling houses right now. My crystal ball's broken. I cannot tell you what's going to happen tomorrow versus a year from now. Chris, I think you might agree. I think that after the summer, I think we're going to know, especially here in Florida, because this is our high season for tourism. But I think after, June, July, and August, I think we're going to know.
And then hopefully we don't see another, where we get too loosey-goosey and then we all go out and then we see another second surgence of this, and that would be horrible. So, just being patient and letting it ride its way out, or until we find a vaccine, or until, we have something, that can control it or help us, because otherwise, I don't know about you, I feel like my life has changed a little bit. I'm very blessed, and like you said, very thankful for a job, and but other than that, I'm not too bothered. The only thing, we can't go out for dinner, and support your local restaurants. get takeout, buy gifts for people. I've been buying my team gifts every week just so they support the local restaurants. I have a lot of friends in the restaurant business, and that's all we can do to help them. You know, that's really the only thing in my life that's truly changed. I can't go out to eat, but we try to support our local restaurants, and please do that. And your local anybody, you know, local anybody, local real estate agent, local lender, local, you know, please support your local people.
Your
so
local
that we
sign
can all
companies.
get together.
Yep, that's true. And you know, I do that. I will shop online and stuff like they're not local, but you know, I'm trying to at least keep the economy going with some of my purchases. And you mentioned earlier about my my cocktails that I'm making. Well, I'm keeping I do shipped, and they deliver groceries, and they also deliver ABC liquor too.
Nice.
And so yeah, so I do things like, oh, that looks like a really great recipe. Oh, that looks like a great recipe. And so I order all this like crazy stuff. Do you know what Campari is? Campari?
Yeah.
It is awful.
It
I'm like,
is.
I don't buy that. And I'm like, oh gosh. But I'm
Yeah,
sure it's
you
good
can
in.
make a special drink with it, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's the Campari and soda and lime is like what's so popular, but it's very European actually. I remember back in my bartending days that I think people from France, I think would order it. So, but do it real quick. Somebody asked, my mortgage is 4.0. Can rates go lower? And I think I don't think. Go ahead. I'm not going to answer for you.
Well, so I can tell you that 4.0 is a fantastic rate. You know, I think we're also seeing a lot of rate envy right now, jumping on the rate bandwagon, trying to get the very lowest rate. There are two ways to save interest on your loan. You can either get a refinance to a lower rate. The biggest savings that we're seeing here are the refinance to a lower rate plus getting rid of mortgage insurance. When you have that combination, you know, when your rate was like in the fours, because rates were in the fours and the fives in the last like 3 to 4 years, you know, they were right around there. And so getting that rate out of the fours and removing mortgage insurance, if you're in that kind of position, you're going to see a ginormous improvement on your payment. But a lot of people come to me, oh, I have a 3.75, should I refi? No, it's expensive to refi, you know, and you're going to pay for it one way or the other. Your refinancing is financing again. That's what you're doing. So you're going to either pay for it with a higher interest rate with lower closing costs, or you're going to pay the closing costs to get the lower rate. Most people right now want the very lowest rate. They want that low rate in the low threes, I'm sorry. And so we're seeing a lot of lenders out there immediately charging 1 point to get that rate, which is not a terrible thing. I mean, if you get a rate at like low threes and pay a point for it, you're basically ensuring that you're not going to be refinancing again, you know, if you're going to keep that house. A couple of really important questions to ask. Number one, how long are you going to be in the house? If you are going to be in that house for less than 3 years, please do not refinance your house. It's really, really not worth it, and you're just going to add more money to your principal balance, typically. And number two, what's your rate? And yes, the normal rule of thumb is it needs to be 1 whole point lower. Typically, if you're removing mortgage insurance plus reducing it significantly, then and you're in the first 2 to 3 years of your loan, you're not 15 years into a loan, then yeah, then refinancing is typically a good idea because you're going to repay that back within about a 2 to 3 year period, even less sometimes. But I would say this, make sure if you're not going to be in the house for very long, then just consider not refinancing, because it's that is super painful for me to refinance somebody and then a year later they come to me, hey Chris, we're selling the house. I'm like, oh, you know, it's painful to me because we just added, you know, probably about, you know, it depends on the closing costs and what kind of loan amount it is, but you probably just added somewhere between $3,000 to $6,000 onto your principal balance, and so you're not going to get that back when you sell. So anyhow, I think that it's more than about rate. Multiple conversations about some people have a great rate, they just want to pay it off. Oh, this is number one. Everybody wants a 15-year. Everybody, I want to do a 15-year. I want to do 15-year. Okay, so a couple things. Unless your loan amount is 150 or less, normally it's going to be super painful to do a 15-year. Like it's going to be handcuffed into a payment, and you are not going to like it at all. So what I always tell people is make your own 15-year. If you have a good rate on it, that's the second way that you can save interest on the loan. So you can save
Mm-hmm.
interest by refinancing, or you can save interest by making additional principal payments on your
Mm-hmm.
loan. When you close, you got a copy of your amortization schedule. Pull that out and call me, and I'll go through it with you. And I'll
Mm-hmm.
tell you how you can save interest by making additional principal payments on your loan and making that loan into a 15-year, but then also having the flexibility of a lower payment so that you're not handcuffed into that 15-year loan.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of us will have better months than others. We'll spend more or less money than others some months. We'll go on a vacation and we don't want to pay that extra. We want to save that $1,000 or something to go on vacation with our family. So
Mm-hmm.
um, I talk more people out of 15-year loans. Some people we go into 20-year loan. 20 years not a bad. There is a 25. The 20, the 25, and the 30. Those rates are pretty much all the same. And right now, the 15-year rate, because on the secondary market, they don't want to buy 15-year loans. So it's not a real popular product right now. So, whenever nobody wants to buy it, the prices don't go very low. So that
Mm-hmm.
15-year rate is not, it's nothing that great right now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And that's, again, I'm going to just mention it, the 15 year, there's some TV ad that talks about that. That
mhm,
I don't know who, I remember hearing it on TV. Again, watch out what you see on TV.
yeah,
And yeah, because there's like 15 year, you can pay it off faster. And you know what? That might be good for this person, but it might not be good for you. And
if you're
always,
disciplined, if you're a disciplined person and you can and you are good, I mean, you don't even have to be that disciplined, and look at your amortization schedule. It's so awesome. If you pay principal, the lender cannot charge you interest on principal you have paid. So let's say your payment's $1,000 and your principal portion, and we're in the early portion of your mortgage. Your principal portion, let's say it's $400 and your interest is $600. If you pay $400 of your principal, the lender cannot charge you $600 of interest. So just adding an extra four. So if you do a 15-year, let me guarantee you on a $200,000 to $300,000 to $400,000 loan, your payment's going to be $300 to $400 to $500 more to do a 15-year. So why
mhm,
not just do it? Take that payment instead of being forced to do it. Do it when you can do it. Apply it to the principal, and you will
mhm,
pay down your loan a lot faster. Dave Ramsey has an awesome calculator on Dave Ramsey. Go on, just do Dave Ramsey pay off your mortgage calculator. You can just Google it, and it's on there. I send that out to a lot of my clients to kind of play with their numbers and see what
mhm.
it might be.
Yeah, that's a good point because I do hear that a lot. They're like, yeah, I think I'm going to do a 15 year. And I'm like, do you really want to be handcuffed into that? So, but again, I don't give any mortgage advice. I know enough to say, call Christine Wilson. She'll tell you what to do.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it. And I like to give options too. A lot of people come in with that 15-year plan, and then we go over a lot of the options
Mhm.
for them. So,
Yep. And again, it's just they see something on TV and they want to go after it. So, another thing too we talked about real quick is that people are buying and selling houses. You're doing a lot of refinances, which is meaning people are keeping their homes, which is great,
mhm.
but that means nobody's putting them on the market to sell them. So we do still have an inventory shortage, and we still have strong buyers out there. Like I said, I've got a couple of really great. Pam asked me the other day. She goes, "Where do you find your people?" I'm like, "I don't advertise. I do everything's word of mouth with me. It's somebody refers somebody to me, and I said they're part of my sphere. They're a friend of mine. They're a family member.
Mhm.
There's some past customers, family member. So, like I said, there are some really good buyers out there, and you know, like you mentioned earlier, maybe the homes that are below the, what'd you say, under below the 230s,
Yeah,
maybe those buyers are not out there right at the moment. But I have to tell you guys, I have two very strong buyers that will buy a home underneath 250, and they are strong. So
yeah.
if you're don't be in despair. But again, they're going to be in certain areas. So I'm just putting it out there. I got two people, can't find anything because homes are jacked up. I've been fine. I mean, it's like, are you guys even taking pride in your homes? We do an inspection, we have to cancel it because things are not in great shape in the home.
Mhm.
The other thing too, I just wanted to talk about is forbearance. Just real quick, talk about that real quick before we end our little show here.
So we touched on it before. Don't do it unless you absolutely have to. Forbearance is going to is going to rock the mortgage world, and then it will constrict lending even more. And like we said before, real estate mortgages, we really help generate the economy when we do business because we put people to work, and so and we buy goods and services from people whenever someone does do a refi or purchase a home. And so if we don't, if lenders, if there's a ton of forbearances out there, and then stops the market from buying loans from us lenders, it is not going to be pretty. So make your mortgage payments, people. It is not a free ride. It is not. It's not only for those that absolutely need to, and there are those people that need to. I mean, there are those people that are just going to have to do it. But if you don't need to, then don't do it. This is what I had a friend of mine, super intelligent, highly respected person, and he said, "Yeah, I told my son just to go ahead and apply for the forbearance and do it because you might as well save that money, just in case he needs it." And I looked at him, I was like, absolutely no, please do not do that because it'll not be pretty. Again, the fiduciary responsibility of a servicer, a mortgage servicer, that's somebody who is managing the loan for Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, or Ginnie Mae. Those are your Penny Macs, the Chase, the Wells Fargo's, the mortgage firms, anybody who's managing the escrow accounts, those servicers. Now that's who you should contact if you absolutely have to go into a forbearance plan, or you're curious or you need to inquire about it. You go to your servicer, but those people, their responsibility is not to you, the borrower. It is to Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and Ginnie Mae. That's who their responsibility is to. So, and that's where their allegiance is. So please do not think that they have you in the best interest of them at all. So I think that's the best way I can put it.
Yeah, that's and again, I love it that people go to their mom, their dad, their brother, their sister for advice on what to do. But at the end of the day, you got to talk to the professionals. And
Yep.
I'm not trying to flood your phones over there, Chris, but I know you give really sound advice.
Mhm.
But if you do have a question, reach out to me. And if I don't know how to answer the question, I will find the right person for you to talk to. Or reach out to Christine. If you're thinking about, should I refinance my home right now, or should I sell it, or should I just stick? One of the things I'm going to tell you, she's going to give you the honest truth. She's not just doing this to make get a deal. I'm doing the same thing. I have told several people, don't buy a house right now.
Yeah.
You're going to be moving in 3 years. Why are you going to buy a house right now?
Mhm.
I told people they want to sell a home. I'm like, I don't know if you really want to do that right now. What's causing that to happen? I asked the question, like, what is the urgency, and how is it going to benefit you? So if it works out, I'm not here just for a transaction. I'm always the realtor for life. So I'm not just a transactional person.
Yeah.
So we've been on here for let's see, almost 53 minutes. Hey,
Wow.
we can talk a lot.
We can.
We can sit here for hours. And so much more I'd like to chat with you about. But thank you again so much for participating, coming on, and just real quick, I want you guys all to take a
I like
deep
your
breath.
phone, Linda.
Hmm? Oh yeah, you're the one that actually.
I love it.
Yeah, yeah. See, I can put credit cards in here. Whoops,
It's
over
so
here.
awesome. It's the best phone ever. Phone case.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I haven't had a chance to use that part of it yet, but yeah, I know we were somewhere and you had it, and somebody said they were ordering it. I'm like, I want to order it too.
Yeah, that's right. I have
And
a
yeah, so I had to follow along, be a follow the leader kind of a person. Well, just the whole COVID. I know we've got a lot of healthcare workers and first responders out there that are
Thank
really
you.
putting themselves on the line. I just want to thank you all, but I'm going to put this up here. Let me see if I can figure out how to do this right now.
There you go.
Okay, this is a sign for a yard,
I love it.
and it's so if you know of anybody Yes, Jody, I'll share my phone case with you. If you know of anybody who's a healthcare worker in Seminole County, send me an email of their address and I will go put one of those in their yard. I have only 25 of them. If I get a whole influx of them, I'll be happy to go get some more. See, I'm supporting sign companies. That's what I did. I bought a bunch of those. But send me an email at realtor Linda Schulte at gmail.com. Or if you need to give me a call, it's 407-721-0611. So for healthcare workers that you find that are a hero and you want to give them some recognition, call me, email me, tell me what their address is, and I'm going to go put one of those in their yard, and I'll take a picture of it and send it back to you. So we got to support those people that are on the front lines, protecting us. I might after this one, I might do it for our first responders too, but this is my start of it at least.
I love
So,
it. Thank you for doing that, Linda.
well, you're very. I mean, I sit here. I'm like, what can I do? I can't. I'm not going shopping for people because I bought my groceries sent in. I go out and I show houses, and that's about all I do. I'm like, I'm back home, kind of a thing, and just trying to figure out, what can I do? The main thing I think of that I can do is I can do something like that, but I also get out there and I stay very positive with people. I give them encouragement and just trying to focus on what we have and what we should be thankful for. And we do have a lot to be thankful for. I know it's a scary time, but we'll get through this together. And if you're struggling out there, send me a text message and let me know everything. I'm a past human resources person, so my confidentiality level is pretty high there. But send me a message, and I'll see what I can do. I can try to connect you with somebody. Like I said, we just want to be helping out each other and
Mhm.
getting through this, and we will. We're going to come out stronger
We will.
um, and better. So, Christine, thank you so much.
Thank you for
Um,
having
Oh, you're very welcome. And of course, I'll have you back on again soon. So,
me.
all right, everybody. You can actually, I'm going to end the broadcast. This is kind of cool. Then you can actually stay on for a minute. So, all right,
All right.
bye, everybody.